What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drewbie Wilson, with more than 2 decades in sales. I've been through it, seen it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community, because this is the greatest opportunity on the planet. Doesn't matter what personality type, what background, what history you have, you can find your place in sales. And today's guest is no stranger to that. He's someone I've had the pleasure of getting to know, and I'm really excited to have on the show today. He's my new friend, Swire the Promo Guy. What's going on, man? How are you today?
I'm doing well, Drewbie. Thanks for having me on your show.
I appreciate you being here. Now I'm excited, and I want to jump right in, man. I want you to tell us your craziest sales story.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in promotional product industry. So as you imagine, one of the busiest time is around the holidays, Christmas season, right? So normally I know that people call me around Christmas time, a really crazy timeline. Usually I would tell you like a couple of days before. I don't like to take on new jobs because I know those are crazy, crazy timeline. So, but one year, I think that was back in 2017, I picked up a call, executive assistant wanted to get just a couple of hundred business cards for her boss, right? So, okay, sounds easy enough when we've done it. Turns out that she worked for a very powerful boss with a large company. So one thing led to another. I was able to help this executive assistant get exactly what the boss wants. And later on, she referred me to 20, 50 other executive assistants that work for other bosses and partner within the company. So I think that's led me to, I know you wanted to talk about, how to retain a client, so love to talk more about that. But, that's kind of my crazy story.
And one of the fun things about that is it's often we try to set boundaries as professionals, right? We want certain size orders, or we want to work with certain kinds of clients, and that's good because it helps you define your path in sales. But sometimes it's those little off the wall deals that we take it's like normally it's a busy season. I wouldn't necessarily take a smaller order, but let me go ahead and take care of this for you real quick. And it can lead to such amazing things. And as you had mentioned, referrals from doing a solid for a customer can often be some of the best clients that you ever have. So when you're talking about retention and you're talking about, kind of that story of the small deal, what did you learn from that in the sense of how did you turn that into the retention model that you have now?
I think you hit it on the point, right? So, we all have our criteria. We all have our maybe minimum order or minimum budget, right? That we'll take on. Sometimes we do help smaller orders, or maybe, they're really friendly. We really want to help them. And with the intention that later on, this company, you somehow know that, they are going to turn into a large customer. Or when you work with a larger organizations, a lot of times they will give you a really small job, really to see your process, to see how you're doing before they will commit to a big order. A lot of B2B type customers just do it that way. And I think not only I'm able to bring in a client, I actually learn more about, ask them question, right? Do you normally do things that rush? That's, kind of crazy timeline, and get to know their pain point. And she told me that, yeah, that's what I normally used to, because the boss will have the meeting normally on a Friday morning, and they would dump all the things to me Friday afternoon, and I have to do it. Right, I have to do it to keep my job, to make sure that I look good in front of my bosses. So then I find out, and I uncover more that there are other assistants have the same type of pain point. So I kind of fit in to the needs, and I also uncover if I'm able to fulfill what they needed. Pricing at that time is not the priority of the project. So that's like music to my ear.
There's so many things to unpack from that. There's some gems here, so I want to go through that because I am a huge fan of pre-qualifying questions. And so, you had mentioned, hey, asking the right questions and making sure you're working with the right people. Do you have like 2 or 3 pre-qualifying questions that you use on every conversation or call that you have?
Yeah, I think in sales professional, especially, us being in the industry for a while, we're a lot of knowledge. A lot of time when we hop on a sales call, we talk for the longest time. Like we tell them all the specs and how good we are, things like that. And we don't let our customer talk. I actually use a tools right now that can actually monitor how much I talk during the call. I would always turn the ratio, the customer, if they're able to talk 60% or more, then I'm a win, because I want to let them talk, like, because if they open out and try to speak with their problem, I can actually pick up little snippets, right? Are they more price conscious, or are they under a crazy timeline, or how do I really stand out here? Because if I just pitch, right, for what I normally would do, a lot of time I will miss things. But if I'm asking the right question, especially what I like to do, and I actually have it in front of my monitor, my cheat sheets, right? I actually ask them, so you're looking for, I would assume that you're talking to a few other company. What would be an ideal project looks like to you? Can you let me know more about that? And I let them know, I let them talk. And maybe they want to be color, they want to be looking nice, or they're actually focusing on price. So without me asking that question, they're probably not going to tell me any of it.
That's so true, and I love that, because as you were saying, there's those couple of things that matter. It might be the logistics. Hey, how fast can you get them
Yeah.
here?
Mm-hmm.
How much is it going to cost me? Or what is the quality? And there's a meme out there where you can kind of see the triangle. It's like you can always get two of the three. You can
Yes.
get good
Yes.
and fast, but it's not going to be cheap. And you can
Yes.
get good and cheap, but it's not going to be fast. And like there's all these little angles to it. And I think that plays very well into what you had mentioned about the referral piece and kind of getting to know that executive assistant from your story, and them being able to send you multiple other high quality executives in the same situation, because then you set the precedent of, cool, we know that based on the relationship, your guy's going to come and hit us with last minute orders all the time. So here's what we can do. We can have some pre-order stuff where you order a little extra on the first couple so they're in inventory when he needs them. Or if they're a custom thing, hey, if you can get them to us by, let's say, 5 p.m. that day, our turnaround would look like this. Now we're going to have to charge XYZ. That's a premium price for a quick turnaround, but we can get it done for you. And I think that's so genius, Swire. So how did you get into promotional sales? What was that thing that led you down that path?
We started the first company, if you're old enough like me, we started the first company in CD, DVD replication. So we actually make copies for record labels and film companies on physical disc. Along the way, musicians go on tour. They ask, hey, do you guys do t-shirts and hats that we could sell as merchandise? And film company asks, we're doing a red carpet. Can you fill out the gift bag for us? So that's how we stumble on to a promotional product. And hindsight is always 2020. In 2013, we sold the CD, DVD part of the business to a competitor here locally, and then focus exclusively now at promotional product ever since.
That's probably a good time to get out of that business,
Yeah, it
because I don't
was.
see too many CDs or DVDs these days. And it's so interesting how that timing works and the pivot point. There's so many things we could go down this path. And obviously, I want to be respectful of your time and the listener. When it came to sales, right? You've got an accent. You're a little bit outside the box from a sales professional standpoint. What do you think is what allowed you? What's your sales superpower? Like, what's that thing that you lean in on that makes you a professional when it comes to sales?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I believe for myself too. If I don't trust someone, I won't use them. That's my principle. If we have a relationship, I don't trust you, I'll never use that person. I try to do that in my own perspective. I will gain the trust of the customer. Obviously they have question, and I'll ask them some question to the point that they trust me. So our goal is not to get a million customer out there. Our goal is to get the most profitable client who will pay full price for our product and services and trust me to do our job. So that's a dream client that you don't get many, right? So obviously people will step in, they will want samples and things like that to verify, right? So that's part of the process. But if I ask everyone listening this question, would you rather working with a client that do their own research, nickel and dime you every single way and email call you every single day versus an ideal client that you build trust with, pay your full price, and then you just do your job the best that it's supposed to be. Which group do you rather working with?
Ooh. And that brings up another one of those memes. I love memes, so I like that's my thing. But it's so true. It's that meme where it's like, hey, $500 client, hey, when can we hop on a call? I've got some questions, like this, that, whatever. And then it's like the $50,000 client is like, wire sent, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny how that can change. And I love that because one thing I always encourage all sales professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners to recognize, right? That the customer is right because you need them. You want to do business with them. You want to serve them. You want to help them. And also, you don't have to do business with every single person who has a credit card and a pulse.
Yeah.
You don't have to do business with everyone. You can be selective and choose who you want to work with based on certain criteria. And it's so interesting, Swire, and I would love your take on this, how when you start narrowing in and putting in those boundaries of, hey, we work with this specific kind of individual, how much more you find them and really how much more you would appreciate doing business with them because you actually like the business that you're doing.
Well, first of all, I think the discovery process is, I challenge everyone to, do you know who your top 10 clients are? Meaning that they give you the most amount of dollar or in quantity, whatever related to your business. If you don't, you should have a check-in system, or we use QuickBooks. So basically, I will look at, QuickBooks for previous year, 2023, for example, which 10 type of customer order from us the most. And then I analyze who they are. Do they have a certain title? Is it gender specific? Is it where they're located? What do they normally buy from us? So to determine, if you fit into this category, chances are you could be on the way to an ideal client. What if you identified them, your top 10, and you can actually, you don't have to go 1 million client or 200 client. You grow your top 10 to the top 20. You have this 10 client that pay you the most. Chances are, if you know the 80-20 rules, 80% of your business are contributing by 20% of your client. So if you can actually grow that, you could probably double or triple your business if you do it the right way.
Well, and that's a great point when we circle back to the idea of retention. A lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, when they get into the game, the only thing on their mind is like grow, 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 which is important, right? You got to grow. However, you reach a point where retention and defending what you've grown to is really important, because the thing that I see a lot of people do is get on that hamster wheel of, well, I got a bunch of clients in, but now like I got a bunch of clients leaving because I can't, like, I'm not doing all the work. I'm not showing up and delivering on the quality, and they can't have that level of trust, which is the other thing you mentioned. So for you, Swire, how did you find that balance of, hey, we want to grow, and also I want to lean in on the retention of our current clients and start measuring who's buying from us multiple times, who's making one big order and then never talking to us again? Because that could be the difference, right? Someone might look at a spreadsheet and go, well, that's the biggest customer of the year. They made that $10,000 order, but maybe there's another customer who's placed 20 $1,000 orders. If you don't get clarity on that, you're not going to really know. So what was that big transition for you? Like, how did you realize you needed to start tracking that?
Well, because I interact with a lot of people, especially marketing department, the business development. Normally, the type of contact that I have, they will come in and they spend money on promotional product to prospecting, right? For doing the trade show, going to events, they're giving away the item. But when I ask them, so let's say you get a client, right, with all your marketing effort, all your channels, right? So how much time and how much budget do you have for retaining them? A lot of them will blank out and they said nothing. They bought from us already, and then, we do a good work and they will stay. Chances are one way that costs nothing right now, everyone can do if you ever have customer, is to follow up with the customer after the sale. Ask yourself how many times you bought something, right? Either it's $1 or $50,000, that the sales actually check in with you after the sale. Unless they're trying to upsell you or your subscription is due for renewal, you don't hear from those people. Like, is
Yeah.
that the right way to build relationship?
Well, and here's something that's interesting for me, Swire, because like I'm in the high ticket space, right? We do coaching, we do consulting, we have a great podcast, and we have an e-com store. And so I'm also super hypersensitive to the process of the customer journey. That to me is really, really important. And the other day I was on a Facebook ad and I clicked in and I started putting my name and information in and I backed out of it. Everybody does that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that these guys followed up with me was so wholesome. Like they called me, they texted me, they sent me an email with a funny meme in it. But everything that they did was, hey, we appreciate you taking a look. We'd like to give you something of value additional. Are you open to receiving it? And the process was just so good that like I found myself just wanting to keep going along and keep going along. And it went, they gave me a $10 deal. They're like, hey, listen, buy this thing for $10. If you like it, then come back and see us. And that's kind of like what you were doing. Hey, let me send you a couple of promo things to see what you think. And then how often do you go through a situation where you give a little on the front end, right? You send a couple of examples, promo items, and then they come back and they start placing multiple item orders. Does that happen to you guys a lot?
Yeah. So what I like to do is go deeper, right? Think about, after someone use your product and services, so at that time when the deal is done, you're most likely to tell others about what Drewbie has done for you or what Swire have done for you. But if I don't ask and if I don't ask you for the referral or the call to action, you might forget. Like if I check in with you 6 months later, probably you forgot. Like, oh, okay, I kind of remember the name, but what did we do with you? Like they don't remember. So I think promotional product, I kind of learned it from the musician, right? When you go to a concert, of the musician that you really like, the band that you really like, what would you do? You buy t-shirts, you buy hats. And what would you do the day after? You wear the hats, you wear the t-shirts to work. When then you hang out with friends, you also wear the same t-shirt. Then your friends, maybe they haven't heard of the band before. They'll ask you, who's that band t-shirt that you're wearing? And then you pay for the t-shirt, by the way. It's $50 plus. Now we'll tell people all the things, all the songs about the band. And you can actually do it in the sense of a business, so all your purchasing, all the customer who have purchased from you will actually be your mini ambassador. By you, with the cost sending them the gift, then they will actually tell people surrounding them about the experience for your product and services, while wearing your logo become your mini billboard. So this becomes very strategic, and you actually a very good point to follow up with them after you know that they received the gift for your referral, for your call to action, or if you like, maybe there's additional packages that you could sell on top of them. It's easier to be done while they're happy.
Oh, that's such a great point. So many people forget, and I think it's just because they're excited to have closed the deal, right? They've worked so hard to close the deal. Now they're like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to pressure someone. It feels icky to ask for referrals, but that's the best time. Because after they've already cooled off and they're like forgotten about all the great things that you've done for them, and then you ask for referrals, they're like, well, sure, I might know somebody, but it's just not the same feeling. And there are people that love to give referrals, but the best time, and Swire, you're so right about this, is at the time. Hey, we've gotten everything. I know you're super excited about this. Who else do you know that would love to solve this problem that we just solved for you? Because I'd imagine you had to talk to somebody about it along the way, right? So who do you know that might want to go through this, and how can I get a hold of them?
Yeah.
Just that question. It'll make you a lot of money. Swire, how do you guys like to go about it? Do you have a different process than that?
Well, the best I've learned is actually from a contact of mine. He's a financial advisor. As you know, those type of professionals, you can't put ads really on it. There's a lot of restriction. But what he likes to do, he actually coach his client. So when he knows that he's getting a new client coming in, he will actually lay it out up front. Like, new client, if I'm able to help you with your finances and you like the process that we are doing, would you mind to refer me to a couple of your friends that are in similar situation? And then they will onboard the client, once they get a couple of steps into it, and then he'll reintroduce again. So a lot of times when we give out names, some of us are more conservative. We don't want, our friends or, our colleagues to get calls from people. But if it's someone that prep us to know, then we're already circling names in our head. And then when you actually go to ask for that referral, then the name is already there. And then they don't just go back and, oh, I forgot, right? Something in my life happened and then they didn't give you that referral. So you can actually teach them before. If you like a product, are you willing to, maybe tell a couple of our friends, or maybe you just want a testimonial, or maybe you want a case study for the client. So you can actually prep them up during the process for that. So I think that would be a better way if you wanted to throw this in, the funnel doesn't stop when it drops to your bucket, right? You have to spread it out so you actually grow and harvest it.
Oh, man, that is mic drop moment. That's so good. And honestly, I feel like we could probably hang out together and chat about this stuff all day, because I love to nerd out on the follow-up and great customer service. And Swire, I know this is something that you do very well and you're very passionate about. And also, respecting for everybody's time, I want to make sure that we give them that. Now, I've gotten some gems out of this and I'm writing down and circling those notes in my head as well. And so if anyone was here listening and they got some value out of what you shared today, what would be the best way for them to come and find you? If they're in need of promotional swag, like how can they reach out to you? How can they come in and get a hold of you and go from there?
Thank you so much. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. So if you look up, the name is on the screen right now, Swire Ho, # the promo guy, you can connect with me. And if you wanted to learn more about promotional product, do a Google search on me, Swire Ho, # the promo guy. You'll see different products for you. If you have a unique needs, maybe you have certain client that you want to reach out to grow your retention program, go to our website at GorillaPromo.com, reach out to me. Happy to learn more about what you're doing and to better assist you.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be following up because, I sell all kinds of different swag. So I'm always looking to see who's got some different kinds of gear that I can check into. So you'll hear from me, Swire. And again, if you liked the show, if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, post it on social media, tell somebody about it. That's what we're here to do. We want to help. Swire drop some absolute gems on sales, follow-up, retention, service, so many things. Make sure you go back and listen to it twice. Share it and tag us on social media. Swire, thank you again for being here with us today, man. And as always, if you enjoyed the show and you've got an awesome sales story that you'd like to share, head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your information. Let's get you plugged in. We'd love to have you on the show because more than anything, we've got amazing people out there, and this is an industry where you never know where you come from, but we know there's always something to learn. So, Swire, thanks again for being here with me, man.
Thank you, Drewbie.
You got it. We'll see you guys on the next one. Go call the damn leads.